So, a little while back, I showed you all my Nintendo Switch game collection, and you guys seem to enjoy quite a bit. I wanted to also go along and share my digital collection in addition to my physical one. With the Switch 2 coming out, I wanted to do this before the Switch 1 kind of becomes, well, irrelevant, and I've recently hit a big round number of 120 software on my Switch here. So it is a nice, clean grid. So today, we're just going to go through everything digitally that I've collected over the years on the Switch console, from all the dumb little software like YouTube to some actual really good games. Plus, I'm going to go over some recent physical pickups that I've gotten since I released that physical collection video. I got quite a few in Japan and from the end of the year, so there's a few new additions. I sort my games digitally by playtime, as you can see here. Pretty much the top row is all about 100 hour plus. This row is all about 50 hour plus, these guys are all 40, and then like 30, 20, and then like in the 10s, and then from WarioWare, I kind of, excluding Portal because it's just a shorter game, I just count these games as games that I haven't played enough of yet. I always think of WarioWare as at the threshold because it was always like my lowest playtime for a game that's finished. Portal has now topped that with being shorter, but I still count these games as being not played enough yet. That goes down to here, and from Ghost Trick, these are games I haven't played once yet, so quite a few. I've sorted them all into some folders. I've tried to sort the digital games here by the order I got them, but I don't really remember exactly because they were pretty impulse purchasey. So let's start. My first digital Switch games I got in Christmas of 2017. I bought myself Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, which I had on the Wii U. A really good game, so I bought it again on the Switch. I played all of Shovel of Hope, which is like the base game, and most of Plague of Shadows. I still need to play Spectre of Torment and the King of Cards one, though. Someday I'll play them because it's a fun game. Stardew Valley, this is my most played digital game. One, because it's really good, and two, because I've had it for so long. I've never done a full year in Stardew Valley. The most I've gotten to is winter though. So I'd love to someday do a full year. But who knows, who knows. I feel like I'd maybe want to play it on PC as well. Bayonetta, got this with Bayonetta 2. Played it in like a week. Haven't touched it since. Hyper Light Drifter. This was a game that I saw a friend play on Steam back in like 2013, 2015 maybe. I was like, oh, this looks really cool. And I was like, oh, it's on the Switch. There wasn't a lot of games early on the Switch. Like, in hindsight, I wouldn't have really gotten this game because it's not really for me. And I wasn't very good at it. I was pretty young. I'd never done like a twin stick shooter before. And I sucked at it. I'd like to maybe try it again in the future, but I just don't really know if it's my thing. Then we have Uno. I had like an Uno phase in high school for like a week, so I decided to get Uno on the Switch. I haven't really played it since high school. Human Fall Flat, I got this to play with a friend. He thought it looked really fun. We played it for like one session. Haven't played it again. Hollow Knight, so good. Oh my god. Got this game in like 2019, I think. Sucked at it when I first played it. Went back to it a year ago. Found out that I'm better at games now, and I was able to actually fully enjoy the game. It was hard, and it was amazing, and it's one of my favorite games on the Switch. And one of my favorite games ever. I can't wait for Silksong if it ever comes out. But Hollow Knight is so, so good. Definitely, it might be my favorite digital game on here, only rivaled by like maybe one or two others. NES Online, I played quite a bit of this with a friend online. We just played like the wrestling game that first came with it for like 3 hours. We had a lot of fun with it. I haven't played much of it since. I've played a bit of Dr. Mario on here, but NES games aren't really my thing. Tetris 99, again, I haven't played this since like 2020. I don't think I've ever won at it. I got kind of close to winning. Maybe I should try again. But I saw like some clips of like Hoshimachi Suisei playing it like a god, and I was like, oh man, I kind of want to download Tetris 99 again. So I've got it reinstalled on here. Will I play it again? I don't know. Runbow. This was a game I always wanted to play when it first came out, but I didn't have enough friends or controllers to play it. Now I kind of do. But I found it's kind of hard to follow, so I haven't played it that much with friends at parties. Pokemon Home, it's just Pokemon Bank for the Switch. You just saw your Pokemon there, not much to say. SNES Online, had a lot more fun with this. This is the NSO app I've played the most because of Earthbound and a bunch of other games on here. It's really fun. There's a lot of good games on the SNES, and they're all available here. Cuphead, a game I played a lot on PC back in 2017 when it came out, but I've made a bit more progress on this one. Haven't finished it ever. I'd like to finish it though, but it's one of those real hard games. We'll see. Told you Manel back in the groove. I got this like 2020. Played it on like stream then for like 2 hours. I think I beat it. I was kind of confused. I don't really know what I was doing, but I got to the end. I was like, oh, that was okay. And then I didn't play it again, and I don't really feel like going back to it. Rayman Legends Definitive Edition, I had this on the Wii U back in the day physically, and I didn't have it with me. I left it back home, so I wanted to play it again, downloaded it, played it a bit, and haven't really gone back to it. A lot of these early games I kind of abandoned. Puyo Puyo Tetris, I got this because I wanted to play Tetris really badly, and I also want to learn Puyo Puyo. I kind of learned Puyo Puyo, I don't really remember how to play it anymore, but it's like my go-to Tetris game on the Switch. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Trilogy. I've played most of the first game, I think I got to the last case. I haven't touched it since 2020, but it is on my list to go back to. I do want to play these games quite a bit because I want to play some of the later Ace Attorney games. When I first played this though, I did it with a walkthrough. So I want to restart and actually solve the cases myself. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. I played like a little bit of this. It was like a Metroidvania, like a light Metroidvania. I'd like to go back to it and just finish it because I think it'd be pretty fun and easy. And I like the art style and the characters are really cute. So yeah. Ni no Kuni, a first like full game, I guess you could say, aside from maybe Rayman on here that I got digitally. This one is the Studio Ghibli Level 5 crossover JRPG, and I love so much about this game. I got it in 2020, played it for about 5 hours, had to go back to university, or 2021, I mean, and I haven't touched it since, but I really, really want to go back to this game because I loved every bit about it. It's so beautiful, the music's really good, and it's pretty fun, and I'm more skilled and have more experience with JRPGs, so I'm looking forward to properly digging into it. Final Fantasy VII, I got this at the same time as Ni no Kuni. For some reason, I guess I was on a bit of a JRPG kick. I didn't like Final Fantasy, I thought it was really ugly, didn't like the character designs, I thought it was so edgy, and Final Fantasy VII was the epitome of that. But I decided to buy it and try it out, because I guess I gotta give it a shot. I didn't really get into it though, and now I've been playing through the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection, and I want to work my way up to 7 and play that before I play 7 Remake, because I feel like that's going to come to the Switch too. So I do really want to play this game, but it's still a little bit of a ways off because I've got to at least try to get through the other Final Fantasies before it. YouTube, like and subscribe, I guess. This is my plug for you guys, but it's YouTube. I've used this a bit, but I have a PC that I watch YouTube on mainly. Monster Prom XXL. This is like a really short visual novel kind of game where you just do little runs and try to get all different endings. It's fun for like an hour. I played it for like an hour, got it super cheap on sale. A lot of these games I got cheap on sale because I just switched little digital games. So there's not a lot to say about them. It's okay. Some of the designs are really fun, but like not much to write home about in my opinion. Pikuniku. This was a fun game. I thought it was a puzzle game. It's actually got a story, so I played for the story in like a few hours in one afternoon. Felt really good about finishing it, but it's a really short and easy game, and really silly and quite fun as well. But there is a puzzle mode, but that's exclusive to co-op, so I haven't actually had a chance to really play that, which is what I thought the whole game was originally. Game Boy Online, haven't really played a lot of this, because not a lot of my favorite Game Boy games are on here. I was a big Game Boy fan, but I feel like not a ton of the games I really liked are on here. I want to play Donkey Kong 95, I think it is. And I really wish the Pokemon games were on here because I love playing Pokemon, but alas, they're not. So I've only played a little bit of Game Boy Online. It's kind of like the NES, where like the games are just a bit too old for me. Katamari Damacy Reroll. It's a really short game. I've only played a little bit of it again. On my list to finish, it's always sitting at the bottom of my list because it's the shortest one on there. I'll get around to it eventually because I want to play We Love Katamari. WBSC eBaseball Power Pros. This was a game that came out for like 99 cents. And I remember following someone on Twitter that drew a lot of fan art of this. I was like, oh, this is surely like a good franchise. I downloaded it and I couldn't get past the tutorial. It just didn't really work. And I couldn't figure out what it was trying to tell me to do with the button combinations. Everything I tried just didn't seem to work. So, yeah, I played it for about 15 minutes and turned it off, and I haven't played it ever since. And it was like 99 cents. Maybe I should try go back to it? But, like, I don't really know. This game kind of sucked. Fall Guys. Fall Guys is fun. I played it mainly on PC. The Switch version is really bad. You'll just struggle to connect to a game, unless that was my internet, but I'm not sure. And whenever I played with friends, we just couldn't connect to a game, ever. And I think it was because of the Switch version, but I'm not 100% sure. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. I got this because I wanted to get into the series, and I was like, oh, I want to play what Stardew Valley was inspired by. The art style kind of threw me off. I liked the 2D art, but the 3D art is kind of ugly. I'd like to properly give it a go, because I feel like once I get used to it, I'll be fine with it. But this is another game, but I haven't really played. A big pattern here. F-Zero 99. This is probably my favorite of the 99 games, because I really like F-Zero. This game was really fun when it first came out, but it kind of dropped off, unfortunately. Not a lot of people play it these days, and it's mostly bots if you can get a game, at least every time I try to play it. Dragon Quest. This was my first ever Dragon Quest game I played. I bought it and finished it. Really grindy, but really fun and simple. And I'm glad I got into the series through the first one, and I've now since played 11, and 11 is amazing. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. I got this at the beginning of last year, and played it for about half of it, but it wasn't really gelling with me. It just made me want to play Hollow Knight more, because I enjoyed Hollow Knight more with the combat and movement. Ori, to me, it felt kind of hard to see what was happening. I struggled to tell what was part of the background and what wasn't. It's such a beautiful game, but it was just kind of like, Ori's so small, and rather than feeling justifiably difficult like Hollow Knight was, it just felt kind of annoying and unfair, because I couldn't see what was killing me. Golf Story, a game I played for like 10 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, I've heard lots of good stuff about this since 2017. I picked it up and I was like, this isn't really for me. A lot of these digital games are games that I wanted to try because they're cheap and I've heard good things, but a lot of them just kind of weren't really for me. Since in the last year I've found what kind of games I actually do really like a lot, and I've mainly stuck to that, being like JRPGs and specific kind of games. One of those is Picross. I remember playing Picross, like Pokemon Picross, on the 3DS back in the day, and I didn't really get it. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I kind of enjoyed it. And then around the beginning of last year, I just had an insane itch to play Picross. So I got Picross S, and I became a proper Picross fiend. I love Picross now, and I love the series. My favorite puzzle game, one of my favorite puzzle things ever. Picross S is really fun, got me into it, and then I also got Persona 4 Golden in like May or June of last year when I finished Persona 5 Tactica. It was on sale. Had this on PC originally, got to Kanji's Dungeon, and didn't play any further from there. But I'm currently playing through this as we speak, and I am about halfway through the game up to Naoto's Dungeon. So I'm really enjoying it, and I made a whole video about Persona 5, so you guys know I'm a Persona fan, and Persona 4 Golden is super enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to finishing that one. And that might be, these 3 games here are the one that compete with Hollow Knight for my top. Picross S, Persona 4 Golden, and Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythm Festival. This is closely soon to become my most played digital Switch game. I became a pretty big Taiko fan late last year. I bought the physical drum controller while I was in Japan last for this game. I don't really like it though. It's very, you have to hit it really, really hard, so it makes a lot of noise. So if you have roommates or neighbors, they're gonna hear it, and it's not that sensitive. Like, it struggles to detect hits, so you're often missing a lot of hits just because the controller doesn't pick it up. I think most people mod their drum controllers to make it more effective, which I don't really have the means to do, nor really the motivation to do so. I play mainly in handheld mode with the touchscreen, and I enjoy that. I'm currently doing like up to the level of pretty good of hards, can do a few extremes. I'm not a pro or amazing or anything, but I enjoy it, and I've put about 45 hours into this one. Pokemon Unite, I never want to be a League of Legends player, and Pokemon Unite is a MOBA. I was like, there's Pokemon, so if anything will get me into this genre, it'll be Pokemon. So I picked it up, played the tutorials, went to join a battle, and got disconnected immediately because my internet sucks. So that was the end of my MOBA career. Around September of last year, I upgraded to the premium Nintendo Switch Online, and thus I got the N64 and Game Boy Advance. I haven't really played these yet. There's a lot of games I want to, but I'm scared to touch them just because I already have such a big backlog, and this would only be adding to it. But then I'm kind of just paying money for nothing, and I've bought the physical N64 NSO controller, so I have to get around to it eventually. I did play Mario 64 with that, but that was on the 3D All-Stars, so I gotta play like Ocarina of Time, and there's a lot more Game Boy Advance games I want to play rather than N64. N64 was just the generation before I got into gaming, but Game Boy Advance has like Golden Sun, Fire Emblem. If they added the Pokemon games, were really good. Wario Land 4 is on there now. There's a lot of good games on here that I want to actually play. Lego Marvel Superheroes. This is another Wii U game I had, and it's a weird one here being Lego, but it was a childhood kind of favorite of mine, and I had a lot of fun with this on the Wii U, so I wanted to kind of relive that, so I bought it on the Switch here. Played it for about an hour, but maybe I'll go back and finish it. The most fun I had with this game was just running around New York and collecting characters, so that's what I kind of want to get to more than the story. So we'll see if I finish that one. Unicorn Overlord. This was a game I really wanted to get physically. I got it for myself on my birthday of last year, but it came out around February or March. In Australia, they didn't really do any physical copies. They sold out immediately. They did like 10 copies, and you can't find it anywhere physically. Yeah, so I bought it digitally. So I was like, I'm probably not going to find it physically, but I went to Japan and saw it physically there, so I probably should have held off and got it there. No, I've got it digitally. I played it for a little bit. I didn't realize it was a real-time strategy. I thought it was a turn-based strategy, so I'll take a bit of adjusting to. But I want to play the other Vanillaware game I got before this first, which is 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, and that is pretty soon on my list of games to play. Persona 4 is just taking up a long time. Then Picross S2. I got this right before I went to Japan. Spent the whole, 8-hour flight just playing this. So, yeah, I was in another Picross phase. Undertale. I got this on sale, and I bought this when I was in Japan. I was tempted to buy the physical version, but it was on sale for like $10. And I had it on Steam originally, got to Asgore, and I want to replay this to then play Deltarune. Portal. Played this relatively recently, last December, the companion collection. I played Portal, finished that. Portal 2 I played on Steam back in the day, so I haven't played that yet on the Switch, but I'll get around to it eventually. Okami HD, when they announced Okami 2, they put a sale on this, so I picked it up. I still haven't played it though. I'm kind of scared off by the controls a bit, but it was pretty cheap on sale, so I picked it up and I'll get around to it eventually. Monster Hunter Rise, had this on Steam, played a little bit of it with my friend, who's really into Monster Hunter, but I don't have the PC storage, so I had to delete it or uninstall it, and I wanted to get into it again. I'd love to properly get into Monster Hunter. I've tried with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate on the 3DS back in the day, and I kind of got a little bit into it with the Rise on the PC, so I figured the Switch would be my best bet. Haven't really played it yet though. I'm kind of scared to dip my toe into it, but I really want to play with people online and properly get into the series. And we've got Diablo 3 Eternal Collection. This was a game I always kind of wanted to get, because I heard it was like Skylanders, but good, and I really liked Skylanders as a kid, so yeah, I got that. I've played about 2 hours of it so far, and it's fun. I feel like there'll be really fun multiplayer though, but I'm not sure if it does have multiplayer. Then we've also got Sega Mega Drive Online for NSO. I haven't played this because I never played any Sega Mega Drive games growing up, so I haven't really touched it at all. I just kind of got it here because I can. Same with N64 Mature. Haven't really played anything on there. Hatsune Miku Logic Paint S. Now this is a Picross game with a Hatsune Miku skin. When I first got it, I didn't really like it. There's a few things that are different from the Picross S games, like how it auto-fills in a complete row or column for you, and it auto-corrects a mistake you make, so it's really impossible to make a mistake. So I didn't touch it, I was like, I didn't like it, so I bought Picross S3. And the same day I bought Picross S3, I was like, I'll give it a go. So I played a bit more of it, and I've kind of gotten used to its system, and it's pretty good. There's a lot of art you can unlock, and there's also different music you can unlock compared to Picross's one song, and there's like a ton of puzzles. So there's a lot to do in this one. You just gotta kind of get used to the system a bit. It might get more annoying when I get to harder puzzles if it autocorrects, but we'll see, because one of my favorite Picross things is getting lost in a puzzle, having to restart a bunch of it and go back to it. Balatro, I finally decided to pick this up, and I felt it like latch onto my brain, and I felt the like addiction show up. I was like, oh no, this could be really bad. So I've only played about 5 hours so far, and I'm not very good. I don't know how to play poker. I don't know poker hands, so I've been struggling, but I'm slowly getting it. It's the first ever roguelike game I've played as well, so it's pretty good. And then finally, Picross S3. It came on sale the other day. I was like, finish Picross S1, Picross S2, go to get Picross S3. But now, I kind of want to finish Hatsune Miku Picross, so we'll see when I properly get to this one. But as of now, that is all of my digital Switch games. I'm sure I will get more in the future. I'm currently just on a bit of a low buy at the moment, haven't bought many games this year, because the Switch 2 is coming out, just waiting to see what will happen at the Switch 1, how many more games we're going to get, what's going to get Switch 2 versions, what's going to be exclusively on Switch 1, all that kind of thing. If any games are going to get discounts, what games are going out of print, I'm trying to keep an eye on all of that, and seeing how our games carry over. Will our playtime carry over? All that kind of stuff. So I'm just holding off a little bit, but digital games are going to be more likely to be bought, I think, as long as they're easy to transfer over. And yeah, so I'll be adding more games soon. For sure, whenever there's a sale, it's always so tempting. I have no control over those things. Oh. So, as I explained at the beginning of the video, I wanted to go over some recent physical pickups that I've gotten since my last video going through my whole physical collection. So that was in October of last year. I've gotten 9 physical games since then, in November and December, and 1 in January. A lot of these are from Japan, so I'll go through where I got them, why I got them, and I, for the record, haven't played any of these yet, but I plan to someday. So let's talk about that a little bit. So first up, we have Dragon Quest X Offline. So for all of you who don't know, which is probably the majority, Dragon Quest is a popular JRPG franchise. It's a lot bigger in Japan than it is in the West, and the 10th entry, Dragon Quest X, is an MMO, an online MMO that's exclusive to Japan, and has been exclusive to Japan for the better part of 10, 12 years, I think. On the Switch, and I believe on other consoles, they made an offline version so you can have the whole main story of the game without having a subscription or online connection to play it. So it's like an actual version of the game that's not MMO, just to experience a story. Obviously, being in Australia, I can't play the MMO easily, so I decided if I want to play Dragon Quest X, this is the best way to do it, with the offline version. It's like a chibi demake of the actual game, but it's also never been released outside of Japan, so there is no English translation. So I bought this game at a book off in Kyoto, and I've played like 10 minutes of it, and it's at like a level I can read and translate fairly easily, so I will play this game and translate through it for myself as I play it. Looking forward to getting to that. I want to play another game first that I've actually got in this pile, which we will talk about shortly. Also in Japan, I got Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Now this is a port / remake of a DS kind of point and click detective mystery game, puzzle game by Capcom that was released on the Switch, I think a year or 2 ago now. I've heard really, really good things about this game, and I really want to play it. I always prefer physical copies to my games over digital. In the West, it only got a digital release, as far as I'm aware, maybe through like limited run or something. But in Japan, it got a physical edition, which also has English language settings. So I decided to pick that up. I saw it at a book off in Kobe, I believe. So I picked it up there, and I am really looking forward to playing this. This will be the next game I play after Persona 4 Golden, because I've heard such good things about it. It's a short game, and I just want to get through it. Plus, I like having a physical edition of this game. Here's hoping it's really good, but my hopes are high. Then we have Yokai Watch 4. I believe this is Yokai Watch 4++, or at least all versions of the game update to ++, which is like the improved version. but it's called Yokai Wachi for Bokura wa Onaji Sora o mite agete iru. So that means like Yokai Watch 4, we're looking up at the same sky, essentially. Yokai Watch is a franchise I've played a little bit of. I haven't finished any of the games. I own 1 and 2. Played the most of 1, haven't played 2 yet. But I picked up this game because I think it looks really interesting. I'm a fan of monster collecting games, and I kind of like a lot of Yokai Watch designs because it takes inspiration from Japanese mythology, which I'm a bit of a fan of. And I like the urban setting of like rural towns, and I think this one goes more into a better developed, bigger town. Plus, it's got different time eras and everything, so I'm really interested in it. It's never had a English release, unfortunately. It's only ever been in Japanese, since Yokai Watch kind of failed to really take off very well in the West. So I always wanted to play this game, and I have been keeping an eye out on it the past couple of times I've been to Japan. And I noticed it's becoming harder and harder to find, so I decided to finally pick it up this time, and I will do the same thing. I will go through and translate it for myself as I play it. It shouldn't be too hard, probably even easier than Dragon Quest, because Yokai Watch is a pretty juvenile franchise. It's made pretty good for kids. So A is like the E or G rating for games in Japan, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, looking forward to playing this one. I've heard it's kind of buggy, but I'm a Pokemon fan. I'm used to that. Then we have the Battle Cats. It's called like Let's Play Together or something. So, and this one's called Futaride, so let's do it together. It's like a 2-player version of this tower defense mobile game. The interesting thing about this one is it's actually a landscape orientation switch game. So if you hold it upright, it's not really correct orientation. It's meant to be like this, which is really interesting. I only picked this up. I've seen these things as like mobile ads on YouTube and everything in the past. The art style's kind of fun. It's like a tower defense game, not really my thing. I've played like 10 minutes of it. I like to play a little bit more, but it's a mobile game, and it was ported to the Switch with, I believe, little to no microtransactions. But I was at Big Camera in Akihabara, and I saw it for like $22. So I was like, what's the harm in trying it, right? This is a game that I believe you can get digitally in English now, but it's not got a physical release. Plus the cover is really interesting to me, how it's landscape, which is honestly some of the main appeal for me getting it. I'll play a little bit more, but it's one of those games that doesn't really have a story, you just kind of do it. And the art style's fun, so yeah, the Battle Cats. Let's do it together, or whatever it's called in English. Then we have, back in Australia now, when we were in Japan, this game came out, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. This was probably one of my most anticipated games of last year after I became a Dragon Quest fan, because I love the HD 2D art style, and I've heard this is a really good Dragon Quest game. I haven't played this one yet, but I picked it up right when I came back from Japan. In Japan, it was sold out everywhere, which is expected for a Dragon Quest release. It is very popular there, and the games sell out fast, but here I had no problem getting it. So really looking forward to playing this one, and of course we had Akira Toriyama's passing last year, so it's a very kind of somber game to end a year on there. I'll be playing this one probably after Ghost Trick. I like to rotate between a shorter game and a longer game, and this one will be my next longer game after Persona 4 Golden. Then I was considering buying this game in Japan, but held off and ended up getting it from, I believe, like EB Games or something. This is, because I have a friend who worked there, so I had a discount I could use. This is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I've heard lots of good things about this franchise, and I noticed the games were out of print for the first one and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is actually getting quite hard to find now, especially the version that has the DLC included on the cart. But I've heard lots of really good things about this franchise, and I want to give it a go. It is a 50-hour JRPG, but we'll see how I get into it, if I like it. I've heard some people like it, some people don't, but it can be really rewarding if you give it the time to really grow. So I'm looking forward to trying the series at least once, and then seeing if I want to get the other games later on down the track. I mean, we do have Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition launching in like a week, so yeah. Then we have another game I got. This is around Christmas time, so I was buying gifts for myself. And I'm trying to fill out games that are out of print, that I want physically, that are kind of getting harder to find. So this is Persona 5 Strikers. I've been really interested in getting this game since finishing 5 Royal, and I'll play this some point after finishing 4 Golden, probably sometime later this year. But it's a Muso game, so it's one of those hack and slash kind of 3D action games. And I've never played one of those, but if anything, this will be the one that would get me into them, and then maybe I could try like Fire Emblem Warriors or Hyrule Warriors later on down the track. But this is a full-fledged sequel to Persona 5 Royal, or just Persona 5, I should say. And I'm interested in seeing the new characters, the story elements, and it's like a road trip game around Japan. So I'm excited to see like Sapporo and stuff like that in the game. I think that'll be pretty fun because I love Sapporo, and I believe Kyoto's in there as well, probably Osaka as well. Then we have Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. I'm a bit of a Zelda fan, not like the biggest. I've played Link's Awakening, Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild. I had Tears of the Kingdom, didn't really gel with it that much, but I plan to come back to that at the end of my backlog journey, so Land of Hyrule is a bit more refreshing for me. But I also picked up Skyward Sword HD because this is another one that's becoming harder to find. This is one I've heard mixed things about quite a bit. Everyone has heard mixed things about Skyward Sword, but I'm interested in trying it at least, and I'm glad I've got it in my collection. I hope we do get Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD ported to the Switch or Switch 2, so I can finally retire those Wii U games. But I'm glad this one exists at least, because it makes it more accessible. I'm all for games being accessible on current hardware. And then finally, the most recent release I had a gift card, I think, so I decided to use it on Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. Now, I've never played any of the SMT games. I've heard they're a bit more difficult and a bit harder to get into than the Persona ones, but I figured SMT 5 would be a good way to get into it, and I've heard Vengeance is a really good improvement upon the base game. So I'm looking forward to playing this eventually. It's not super high up on my list. It was just on sale, and I had a gift card to use, so I figured might as well pick this one up. It's another 50-hour JRPG. Got quite a few of those on here. But yeah, I've heard pretty good things about this one, and I enjoy Persona. So I'm wanting to try every major JRPG franchise eventually. But yeah, this one is something I'd like to try. Maybe it would be a good like Halloween, October kind of game. We'll see. But yes, that is the most recent game I picked up, and that is all of my digital games and my physical games. Let me know, are there any of these games that I should really prioritize playing if they're really good? Any you haven't heard of, any that you're looking at getting yourself, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, this is my entire Switch collection. Maybe, I don't know, I might do some Switch 2 stuff when it comes out, but I don't plan on getting it immediately. We'll see. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you cared to watch this, I know not many people are probably super interested in a digital Switch collection video, but I wanted to wrap the whole thing up and get it all tied together. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.